Austen Fletcher from Fleccas Talks drops by in a spoon with me and the crew. Coming up on Insanity Tonight with Big Bad Wolf. My guest tonight is a veteran when it comes to dealing with the insane. Equipped with only a spoon, a mic, and his wit, Austen Fletcher, better known as Fleccas from Fleccas Talks, gives liberals all the rope they need to hang themselves with.
Hey, what do we got here? Just holding the flag. America first? No, actually.
No free press equals no free country. Include all press.
So you're pro Breitbart?
No, I'm pro all news. Access to the truth is where it's at. Not Breitbart. But they have the right to be out there.
Fleccas Talks.
What is it?
Fleccas Talks?
Never heard of it.
Thanks.
Austen, thanks for coming on the show.
Wolf, hello. Thank you for having me. My first time talking to a robot cartoon dog, so this is exciting.
Oh, it's as real as it gets. So let's get right into it. You and I both come from the left side of the political spectrum. When did you start immigrating to the right, and what was it that finally convinced you that you were a conservative?
Yeah, so I started off on the left in college, but then I started actually paying attention to politics and looking and seeing what's actually going on. I grew up in New York, so Hillary was kind of always in the news, and I always knew she was corrupt. And then when I saw the media spin her in a positive way, I knew something was up. So they were telling me Trump was terrible and she was great. So turns out the opposite was true.
That's pretty much my story as well. It's like we're bosom buddies.
We look alike.
We do. So are there any conservative pundits or YouTubers that you enjoy listening to on a regular basis?
I listen to Gavin McInnes a lot. I listen to Milo, Ben Shapiro, and then also you, Wolf. Your first episode was fantastic. I loved it. So
you're making me blush.
You're on the short list now. You're part of it.
Oh, stop it. But yeah, I mean, the left is pretty loud, and I just think it's important that we all, speak up and shout back.
Yeah, I think that's what needs to happen. The silent majority needs to be less silent because we're in it now. It's like a culture war. It's not going away. And the left has already decided that they're not going to be pleasant and they're not going to be reasonable. So we kind of have to do our part as informed citizens and dog people, cartoon things.
Right. The funny thing is, a talking animated wolf actually makes more sense than some of the people you've interviewed at these protests.
We have yet to have a perfect communist state. It hasn't happened yet. That doesn't mean we shouldn't push for it. Have you watched Star Trek? Star Trek is a communist utopia. That's what happens when communism wins.
Speaking of which, do you find that there's a consistent type of people that show up to these things?
Yeah. The usual person at the protest is, there's a few different variations, but the common factor that they all share is they are in one way or another not satisfied or disenfranchised in a way, whether that's because their candidate didn't win or they fall victim to the narrative that they are oppressed. So in many different ways, they're just unhappy people. So the people are really just acting from an emotional place. They come from their heart's in a good spot, but their way of going about their version of change, it's not really effective because after you ask them a couple of basic questions, they quickly show you, how little they know. They're more comfortable in the group atmosphere.
Oh, they bounce pretty quick. He's out.
He's out. He's out. He's out. He's out.
He's out. Yeah. He's out's a good one. They'll talk to you. They're like, yeah, I'll definitely talk to you. Interview, cool. Yeah, this is great. And then it's like, oh, how come when, you take guns away, the homicide rate doesn't change? And then no more interview. I got to get back to marching.
The public doesn't need machine guns, automatic weapons.
That's illegal already.
Huh?
Machine guns are illegal already.
Assault weapons,
Assault weapons are semi-automatic.
All right, I'm going to be going in marching now. I see where we're going.
Yeah, he's out.
So you've been to the Women's March. You've been to the March for Our Lives. I lose track of how there have been so many. Are there any in particular that stand out in any way?
My favorite moment was at the Ben Shapiro protest at UCLA, and the people outside were chanting "Nazi go home" to Ben Shapiro.
Nazis go home! Nazis go home! Nazis go home!
I saw a guy with a sign that said "F*** Nazis" and Ben Shapiro's Jewish.
Nazis go home!
That was my favorite moment from any protest ever. And then other than that, I like the Women's March. Those are always fun. But the gun one was really my favorite. Like my most recent one is my favorite one, I think, bigger picture, because this one was really easy to see that people didn't know the facts about the guns. And it was like the most blatant way of showing just, people emotionally out in the streets wanting no more gun violence, no more school shootings, and thinking anyone who opposes them feels the opposite. So it's a dangerous thing. That's why I'm really happy with the most recent gun one. That's probably my favorite.
If you could have an AR-15, why couldn't you have a nuclear weapon?
So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of romantic, like revolutionary role playing going on at these events, Do you think these protesters feel like they're accomplishing something?
Yeah, that's a great point. The protesters really think they're, trying to stop Hitler in Germany, 80 years ago. Like they think that it's like, oh my gosh, like this is our chance. We need to stop Hitler before it starts. And they really are convinced. And that, can be attributed, I think, to the mainstream media and the type of news they've been reporting for the last 2 years. And it's ridiculous because, they always say violence isn't the answer, but you can punch a Nazi. And when everyone's a Nazi, now we're talking, physical confrontation, which is never good. But I avoid, I guess, the threats and the hairiness just because my channel is more of like exposing them on their own terms. Like I'm not really putting any words in anyone's mouth. I'm giving them the rope and letting them, climb the tree and tie the knot. So I guess I'm a little further down on the list if the left comes looking for people to get violent with. I think they have some other people to get to before me.
You also blend in pretty well too, so.
Yeah, and I blend in. I look like them, and I'm also like 6'1", like 275 pounds. So they probably want to fight someone else first.
Yeah. So you've interviewed a lot of interesting people, let's call them. There's been the pirate and the Antifa lady, purple-haired punks. Are there any characters that stand out?
Yes, I have a few of my favorites. One is the Donald Trump is worse than Hitler girl.
Donald Trump is worse than Hitler!
She goes to pretty much every event, and I have her on camera in a megaphone on Hollywood Boulevard in front of tons of people screaming, Donald Trump is worse than Hitler, which is what a claim. Wow. That's my favorite recurring character. And then there's John.
John! Dude, what's up? Good to see you again.
And I met John on the overpass in the knife video. And John told me that words are just words until action actually starts, because actions speak louder than words. But at the same time, words speak louder than actions because sometimes it's the right thing to do. And that quote has stayed with me over the last year. And then there's a couple others. There's a lot of recurring characters. There's a bubble guy. There's a guy who blows bubbles and says he's risking his life, for people's rights. It's a fun crowd.
I think Bubble Boy is actually my favorite as well. One image can say so much.
Yeah. It's like when I think of like images and significant historical moments, I think of like the Elian Gonzalez photo as one. And then Bubble Guy at the airport, LAX, standing up against the Muslim band, which is a music group, I guess.
Yeah, I've seen them live. They're terrible. So Trump Derangement Syndrome, is it real?
Very real, very easy to catch, and the longer you have it and don't treat it, the harder it is to get rid of.
How do you cure it?
There are a couple ways. Like if you're in California, you can try walking down the street in Skid Row near where I live, and you have to walk in the street because there's so many tent people on the sidewalks and it's kind of dangerous, so that could wake you up. Or if you get rich and start paying a lot of taxes and you're like, hey, where's all this money going? That could wake you up. It's basically I don't want to get super deep with you, Wolf, but I think I might have to. It's like once you conquer the emotional side of your inner self, then you're able to look at things more rationally and look at data and like keep the emotions out of it. And the people on the left, I think, tend to not do that. And I think it could be, that's why they say if you're liberal, if you're conservative when you're young, you have no heart. If you're liberal when you're old, you have no brain. And I think it's for that reason. It's kind of like a coming of age thing. And once you realize what's really going on and take the emotions out, then things start to make more sense and you start becoming conservative.
So basically, you're saying people just need to grow up.
Exactly. You grow up, you have more responsibility. And I think the problem is, and I think this is why the left does this to our culture, they promote no one gets married, don't have a family, everything's trans, don't have a house, rent, have roommates when you're 30. And they keep doing these things that keep us away from responsibility. And it used to be back in the day, you get married in your 20s, you have a kid, and then you have to really wake up, and then you either start a business or, get promoted at work, make more money, take care of your house. And all these things kind of woke you up as you went along for the ride and kind of brought you towards conservatism because, you respect your time and your family and your efforts more. But the left kind of pushes this culture on us where it's cool to be a delinquent and cool to be an idiot. And don't worry, everyone's in debt. Don't worry, no one has a job. And things like that lead to people staying liberals for longer, I think.
I think you just hit the nail on the head right there. Yeah. Yeah, it's very difficult to grow up when you don't have to.
What's your sign going to say?
I think it's going to say honk if you hate Trump.
You hate Trump. Honk if you hate Trump. Coming your way. Well, what's the plan for that?
I mean, I just hold it up. It's a sign. It's.
And people beep their horn?
Yeah.
There's often moments when the person you're interviewing starts to experience cognitive dissonance and you can physically see their body freeze. Has anyone ever reached out to you after the fact and thanked you for changing their mind?
Yeah. A couple people have said hey, cool video, but they found themselves in it. They said, oh, cool video. I like, what you're doing on the other side. I haven't had a full on, baptism moment where I dunk someone in the river of truth. But a lot of people have reached out to me saying, hey, I didn't used to pay attention to politics and I thought I knew what was going on. And I watched your videos and I'm realizing now that maybe I'm more libertarian or conservative than I thought, I thought I was a liberal. So I guess I've made a few people realize that politics is something that deserves your attention.
I couldn't agree more. Which is why we're going to move on to a lightning trivia round.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, so we're going to do a quick warm-up question, just a quick warm-up round.
Wait, trivia? We're doing a trivia? You're in a basketball?
Well,
okay.
We're just going to ask a series of questions really fast and see how well you answer them.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to do a warm-up round real quick. How many of the 58 genders can you list in 10 seconds? Go.
Cis, pan, queer, demisexual, heterosexual, homosexual.
Time's up. Actually, the correct answer is 2, male and female.
Oh.
Next. All right, so let's...
Okay. I get it now.
All right, so here we go. How many NRA members have committed a mass shooting?
0.
Correct. What does the P stand for in LGBTQIP2SAA?
Pansexual.
Correct. True or false? Antifa is a domestic terrorist organization.
True.
Correct. Who's your favorite president of all time?
Donald Trump.
Correct. Despite all their hang-ups, Bill and Hillary really do still love each other, don't they?
They do.
No, they hate each other. Are you kidding me? Is Trump going 2 terms or 1?
2.
Correct. Does Adam Schiff actually believe what he says?
No. He's a very compromised individual.
The answer is yes. He's deluded himself. Will Chelsea Handler ever settle down and fall in love?
Yes, but in kind of the way the old ladies in Mamma Mia did it. In 30 years on some weird vacation.
No, she's broken inside. If you correct someone's grammar on Twitter, it means you automatically win the debate, right?
It means, yeah, the debate's automatically won. It's over.
No, you lose. No, you lose. Is Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg really a robot, or does he just play one on TV?
Really a robot.
Correct. What state has the highest poverty rate in the country?
California.
Correct. What's funnier, Samantha Bee or a wet fart?
Wet fart.
Correct. All right, well, you passed. You passed with flying colors. You did really well. Congratulations, Austen.
Thank you. That was pretty good. Couple trick questions in there.
There's a couple curveballs, that's for sure. Got to keep you on your toes.
It worked.
Turning the spoon back on you. No, not really. All right, well, I don't know about you, but that was a really great spooning session.
I enjoyed spooning with you.
I hope you'll come back and join us again.
I definitely will.
All right, Austen, thanks so much for coming on the program. Be sure to follow Fleccas Talks on Instagram and Twitter at Fleccas, and don't forget to subscribe to his YouTube channel. Austen, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Wolf. You're a good boy.
Ow!